of his own trade war and losing his own trade war every day, just exhausted by it. Losing his trade war seems to be aging him, more here that indicated he was possibly suffering from grave conditions, including malignant narcissist and sociopath.
Trump just had his own Error 404, President Not Found moment on national television. When faced with simple facts about his failed trade promises, the man who claims to have the best words suddenly couldn't string together a coherent sentence. The contrast couldn't be more hilarious. Trump promised 90 trade deals in 90 days, but when called out for delivering 0 after 26 days, he went full toddler mode.
Score has been 0 every day of his trade war. Presidential failure could not be more vivid than that.
No joke, experts compared his response to a malfunctioning Alexa trained on conspiracy theories. You have to see this meltdown to believe it. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Remember when Trump swore he'd be the greatest deal maker the world has ever seen? Yeah, well that fantasy just smashed into reality on live TV, and folks, it wasn't pretty. Donnie promised, get this, 90 international trade deals in 90 days. That's one deal every single day, weekends included. No president has ever made such a specific and ridiculous promise. Not Obama, not Biden, not even good old George Washington promised to trade 1 beaver pelt per day with England. But here's where things get super awkward. After 26 whole days, Trump delivered exactly 0 deals. Not one. Not even a tiny agreement with some country nobody's heard of. The master negotiator couldn't even trade Pokemon cards with a 5th grader.
In the trade war that he launched, which he promised to end by negotiating 90 international trade deals in 90 days.
When MSNBC hosts Lawrence O'Donnell and Stephanie Ruhle pointed this out with actual facts and numbers, Trump's face went through more expressions than my uncle trying to understand TikTok. O'Donnell didn't hold back, comparing Trump's economic strategy to a toddler scribbling on a napkin while wearing sunglasses indoors. Ouch. Ruhle jumped in with, "Who taught you economics, a vending machine?" Double ouch. What's actually hilarious is how this simple fact check caused Trump to melt down like ice cream in August. His team reportedly went into full panic mode when confronted with this reality check. They were probably Googling how to legally replace a presidential candidate mid-election cycle. The gap between Trump's big promises and 0 results is wider than his ties are long.
Of his own trade war and losing his own trade war every day, just exhausted by it. Losing his trade war seems to be aging him more.
It shows the massive difference between how he sees himself, master dealmaker extraordinaire, and his actual abilities. Can't negotiate himself out of a paper bag. Remember, this is the guy who put his name on The Art of the Deal, which is looking more like The Art of the Fail these days. When confronted with his trade deal failure, Trump actually struggled to speak like a normal human. One commentator said he sounded like a malfunctioning Alexa trained on conspiracy theories and old campaign slogans. I mean, have you tried asking Alexa to explain nuclear policy after dropping it in the bathtub? Same energy. The whole scene showed how Trump's fantasy world falls apart when faced with simple facts. No spin doctors could save him from the reality that 0 deals is way less than 90 deals.
And that's Donald Trump's own scorebook for failure. 90 deals in 90 days, that's what he said. He's got 0.
That's just math, folks. And if you thought that reaction was embarrassing, just wait until you see what happened next when Trump retreated to his social media safe space. The juicy part of this embarrassing tale wasn't just Trump freezing like a Windows 95 computer on camera. It was what he did after those pesky facts cornered him.
Which has been called into question since his first presidential campaign, which led a group of 27 psychiatrists to co-author a book.
After his TV meltdown, our former president ran away to his digital blanket fort, Truth Social, where reality checks are as optional as pants in a Zoom meeting and spell check apparently doesn't exist. Instead of actually addressing the criticism with, oh, I don't know, facts, Trump went into what people are calling full toddler mode. His posts were so bizarre, you'd think he was typing with his elbows. His Truth Social rant had more typos than my drunk texts at 2 a.m. One post actually accused the MSNBC hosts of being part of a deep state plot funded by windmills against his brilliant economic mind. Windmills, the same windmills he thinks cause cancer. Makes total sense. In the most confusing moment of this digital tantrum, Trump actually demanded an apology from himself. Yes, you read that right. It's like watching someone argue with their reflection in the mirror and losing. By the end, he was quoting his own Twitter rants from 2017 like they were Nobel Prize winning speeches. Spoiler alert, they weren't. This reaction isn't anything new for Trump. According to The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump, a book written by 27 psychiatrists who probably needed therapy themselves after studying him, this defensive posture is exactly what they've seen since his first campaign. It's like clockwork. Fact check Trump, watch Trump meltdown. Repeat.
Presidency titled The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. 27 psychiatrists and mental health experts assess a president here that indicated he was possibly suffering from grave conditions, including malignant narcissist and sociopath.
While Donnie Diapers was busy having his social media tantrum, real stuff was happening. US automakers like Ford and GM expressed serious concerns about his trade policies. They worried British luxury cars might end up cheaper than American-made ones under his brilliant plans. But Trump completely ignored these actual economic issues because, well, they weren't about him. The contrast between the professional journalists with their measured, fact-based criticism and Trump's conspiracy-filled rants was like comparing a philosophy professor to a kid who just discovered sugar. When confronted by the reporter, Trump physically struggled to form words. His speech slurred worse than your uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. He lost his train of thought multiple times and resorted to name-calling instead of answering the actual questions.
Losing more than his trade war. There are public moments now where he seems to be losing his mind.
The promise of 90 deals in 90 days was always as realistic as me promising to go to the gym every day, but 0 deals in 26 days. That exposes the pure fantasy world behind Trump's economic approach.
Donald Trump made that promise 26 days ago and has negotiated exactly 0 trade deals. 0.
A world where facts are optional and temper tantrums are presidential. The gap between Trump's fantasy world and reality has never been more obvious than this wild moment. When faced with simple facts, the so-called master communicator crashed like a cheap computer running Windows Vista. Next time someone tells you Trump is the world's greatest negotiator, just hit them with the math. 90 promised deals, 26 days, 0 results, and 1 public meltdown where he literally couldn't form sentences.
Problematic in Donald Trump's mental health was only going to get worse. They warned us. They agreed that Donald Trump's mental health.
Those aren't great numbers, folks. Maybe the real art of the deal is just convincing people you're making deals when you're actually making nothing but excuses and angry posts from the bathroom at 3 a.m.